Well,
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Never on the Back Foot's YouTube channel. Now, this ODI World Cup obviously presents us with a lot of opportunities, and I've always had this dream to start a YouTube channel. And what better occasion than this to kickstart something incredibly special? Now, joining us for this, preview part one, we have Bharat, Naman, and Rishabh, who are not just active contributors to our Never on the Back Foot community and family on WhatsApp, and even on the audio podcast, but they come in with a lot of experience and insights about this game. So it's lovely to have you all here. And to focus on the ICC Men's ODI World Cup. Now, this is a home World Cup, which obviously comes in with a lot of pressure, and you know, we are definitely looking forward to putting our best foot forward. So to just kickstart our discussion, let's look at India, right? Now we've had an ICC trophy drought since 2013, something that has always come back to haunt us. So, Bharat, to kickstart the discussion with you, what are your thoughts, like overall thoughts on India's squad and how India is shaping up ahead of this World Cup?
Hello, everyone. Super stoked to be here with such a great group of people. Coming to your question about India, I mean, if you had asked us 6 months ago or a year ago, it would have been a very, very anxiety riddled preparation for this World Cup with some of our biggest names injured. Unfortunately, Rishabh Pant is still out. Jasprit Bumrah's uncertainty. Same with Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul through the IPL season, everything that happened. So the team that has shaped up right now is well beyond our expectations because the way Bumrah has come back, the way Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul just came back to form, it augurs very well. There's still a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to, let's say, the all-rounders' role, how they will perform, how does Hardik Pandya hold up across the tournament. Those are some questions I think India will need to answer. But overall, India do look like favorites. Fingers crossed, not jinxing anything, but India do look like favorites with the pedigree they have at the top of the order. Shubman Gill has been in insane form across the year. So especially on home pitches, he should be doing exceedingly well. Kuldeep Yadav's return is a major plus point. His ability to control the middle overs. I think India are by far the best team in the middle overs in ODI cricket right now in terms of picking wickets. Death overs bowling was a concern, but with Bumrah coming back, with Siraj hitting his stride, Siraj has been excellent in the last 1 year. So overall, shaping up to be a pretty good team right now. I'd really be interested to see how Jadeja performs with the bat because some of the tracks will be conducive to his type of bowling, but it's his batting that will take center stage, especially when we start facing attacks that are very spin heavy, let's say, and even both Rohit and Virat are not what they used to be against spin. So Jadeja and then obviously Shreyas Iyer. I had to make a special mention of the Shreyas Iyer's role in the middle order against spin will be a massive decider for however Team India's fortunes go. There was a lot of debate about whether it would be Shreyas Iyer or Ishan Kishan, but I've always believed that Iyer takes his place, especially because of his game against spin on these pitches. So India look like favorites, but we just need to see how they play the first couple of games to see how the middle order and the bowling department is shaping up.
That's actually a great analysis you have put forth, Bharat. You know, there are so many areas that India does look strong, but we still have some concerns, right, going in. Now, Naman, I could see you smiling when Bharat was answering that question. Now, who do you think are some of the biggest misses in the squad? Now, this could be owing to injury or even like some selection concerns that came up for you.
well, more or less, I think I agree with Bharat that we have put together a really good squad this time around. And in terms of the overall options and the quality in the middle order itself, I think it's probably the best one since 2011 that we have. Because even back in 2015, we had Jinx batting at number four, which was not his genuine position to bat in. And in 2019, we all know what happened with that, with that mysterious spot. So overall, with that, keeping that in mind, the middle order aspect is covered. Obviously, Rishabh Pant is a miss, and but he hadn't really put on his best show in ODIs even till that point. And KL Rahul had been doing what he had been doing since 2019, ever since he slotted in the middle order. So overall, I don't feel that there are any major misses. Honestly, if Ashwin had not been in the squad, I would have mentioned that to be a miss, because we would be requiring an off spinner, I believe. And in these conditions, you can never count his experience out. He'll always be an asset and can always come in with those offies and those carom balls. And it's not just about left-handers. Even to right-handers, we saw what he did to Marnie the other day. So that, I believe, really balances the squad overall. And like Bharat mentioned, thankfully the injuries have settled down now, and we have our main players back to slot in the middle order and with the bowling attack as well. And seems a good squad, and we have given these performances in the Asia Cup and in Australia tour as well. Before that, things were looking that okay, how many ODIs have they actually played in the recent past? And you couldn't remember many because there weren't many to have taken place in the first place. So overall, a great squad and good amount of spin, great pace, and let's just hope that we do well against spin, because Rohit, Virat, they haven't really played spin the way they used to, and that's where Shreyas Iyer does slot back in at number 4. Never been a doubt.
Exactly. And now, taking it over to you, Rishabh. Obviously, India comes in with a lot of experience, and you have such experienced campaigners as well. So, how would you look at the opportunities and threats for this squad?
I think the opportunities which come very clearly into the fore, like what Bharat and Naman were mentioning, is the fact that we have an experienced crop of players. I mean, these are folks who've played, like with folks like Rohit and Virat, and now Ashwin coming in, even though he's a replacement for Akshar Patel. And then, of course, you include the likes of Muhammad Shami, you include the likes of Mohammad Siraj even, so who were part of the of previous editions. So and then of course they're playing in Indian soil. We are firm favorites, not just because we are hosts, but because our our ODI performances have been pretty good in this past season. Our limited over performances, even in T20 overs, has been pretty good, which is why even though Ravi Ashwin, who is slotting in for Akshar Patel, he may not have played as that many ODIs. I think he's the last time he played an ODI before this Australia tour was in 2017, but he has been a mainstay with the Test team setup, and he's been performing well for in T20s, for whether it's franchise cricket or even in the Indian setup. So I think um, this is a group that has played with each other for a long time. It's a group that understands its dynamics pretty well. So, in that regard, we are firm favorites. In terms of threats, and I think we were discussing this just before, is that our abilities in terms of facing spin bowling, our opening batters, our top three sometimes are a bit susceptible to spin bowling, which is why Shreyas Iyer becomes vitally important, even though for Iyer himself, given that he's coming in after a lengthy injury spell, he the man's had so many back injuries. It's astonishing. Um, but he will be fighting for his places, given how well KL Rahul and Surya Kumar Yadav are performing right now. That being so Shreyas Iyer very likely may not even start at 4. Might bat anywhere between three to 6. That being said, if we can sort out our abilities against spin bowling, uh, that would be key. And another one is our dreaded, Achilles heel, which is facing left arm pacers. Um, it's crazy. There is I don't understand it, where we just struggle so much. Like if in the recent games against Pakistan, Shaheen Afridi had so much success against us, and it's not like he's doing anything differently. It's just an Achilles heel, which it requires forensics, honestly. So if we can, but yeah, so that is definitely an issue. And given that a lot of teams have pretty good left arm pacers in this tournament, I think Mitchell Stark just took a hat trick today. So and so yeah, that is something we will need to be careful about, and something that will, I believe, will particularly become a concern if we play knockout stages. So yeah, those are my things about where we can do well and where we can trip up, as it were.
I think even the Indian team management will definitely, take acknowledge these opportunities and threats going ahead too. But quickly, let's take, your take on the player to watch out for. I'll ask all the three of you. Let's start off with Bharat.
Player to watch out for is, as it is for the last 5 years, it'll be Jasprit Bumrah. On him rests our entire bowling attack. So pretty straightforward for me.
Naman?
For me, I think it's going to be Iyer. He is largely critical, and although Rishabh feels that is like Rishabh wins it from 3 to 6, dude. Nobody's taking away 3. Virat is there. So
I think
like
I meant to say 4 to 6, but yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
and the only place that is there even now is number 4. I think KL has
Yeah.
reserved 4, and I think at 4, Iyer is the one to watch out for. You have to play that spin well. That's it for me. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And Rishabh, what about you?
I believe it'll be Shubman Gill, given he's been in such good form in the this past calendar year and last year as well. He's been an absolute revelation in my opinion, and he is going to be a mainstay for our opening attack in all formats for a long time. And we need someone who can sort of open the innings in a manner that is aggressive yet controlled. And Shubman can do this for the almost for the entirety of the game. And it's I think we need someone assured at the top. And I think while I totally agree with Bharat and with Naman, I would keep my eyes on Shubman Gill. If he does well, chances are that he would do well as well.
Absolutely. And now, focusing on a quick prediction on where India will end up. Again, I want to hear from all three of you. Bharat?
Uh, Anything, I mean, it's a World Cup at home, so anything less than a World Cup win would be considered a failure, I suppose, in the eyes of the fans. But I genuinely see India making the semi-finals comfortably, but not comfortably, but they should make the semi-finals with the squad they have. But I don't know how the semi-finals end, because knockout games are knockout games eventually. So semi-finals at the minimum, but from there, who knows? Yeah.
Fair enough. Naman?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we want to win this time. It's in our own soil, and that's been the trend over the past 3 seasons. 2011 World Cup in India, India won. 15 in Australia, Australia won. 19 England, England won. Let's carry the trend ahead. And one crucial thing that we still need to figure out here is, who do you play at number 8? Do you play Shardul or do you play Ashwin? Like on turners, there's no doubt that Ashwin will come into play and on surfaces like Chennai and Delhi. But overall, do you think Hardik still has it to be the third pacer, or do you think he'll still largely be the fourth pacer and Shardul does find his place? What do you guys think on that?
If I can come in, I think I'd discussed this a couple of days ago as well. Shardul's form is a concern. His bowling form is a bit of a concern because he has the tendency to go for runs. I think his ODI career economy rate is about 6.5, and on very good batting tracks. I think even in indoor, where India batted very well and bowlers did a good job, Shardul still went for quite a lot of runs. I've not seen Ashwin a lot in ODI, so I don't know how his hold up bowling is. He's done pretty well in the two games he played, but that will be a conundrum. As I said, Hardik, how much he bowls is also a question that India need to answer. I think in the T20s he's bowled 4 overs, in ODIs he's bowled 6-7 overs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think good question by Naman. I would say we go with Ashwin to begin with, because Shardul has not inspired as much confidence as he should, at least in the past few months. So yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
always been the case with Shardul. Like he has this knack of picking wickets. I mean, if you look at it since 2019, he's been the highest wicket taker, and Kuldeep has been catching up with him now. But
yeah.
that's been his case. He leaks runs, but that uncanny knack of picking wickets through the middle, you just always face that dilemma with him. That okay, do we pick him for his ability to pick wickets? Do we not pick him for his economy? But then he bats a bit at number 8 as well. It's a curious case
It is a
always.
conundrum. It is absolutely a conundrum. And again, it becomes more complicated now with Ashwin in the team. Uh, I personally think that is one position where we might rotate quite a bit. It will depend on the opponent we face. It will depend on the ground in which we are playing. Like you guys said, if it's a rank turner pitch kind of a pitch, Ashwin it's a no brainer. He enters. If it's a if it's a ground like Dharamshala or Wankhede Stadium, which provides more to the fast bowlers, that's where you might involve someone like Hardik Pandya. Again, fingers crossed that his fitness is close to somewhere around 100%, because I still believe that he is someone who can brilliantly deliver with the bat and the ball. And in a World Cup like event, if your past form actually is not such a strong indicator, if you can come up good on the day by through your experience and through the backing of your teammates. So, like, there's no straightforward answer for what Naman is asking. Great question, by the way. But yeah, I believe there will be some rotation, at least in number 7, number 8 positions.
Fair enough. And Rishabh, what's your prediction of where India will, end up in this World Cup?
I mean, given our team, given that it's the home soil, given our recent performances, we should, like Bharat said, if we don't make the semifinals, it'll be a failure actually. And and if we make it to the finals, we gotta win. It is as simple. And if I just hope that we don't fall short like we did in 2015 and 2019 by agonizingly small margins. So if we can hold our own, and given that there is so much expectation, yeah, I would go with, yeah, let's make semifinals and let's hope for the best afterwards.
And focusing on this other aspect of how India experimented a lot, right, with their squads ahead of this World Cup, I think that's where Chinmay's comment also comes into perspective, right? Because somewhere he feels that Shardul isn't getting that much of confidence from the team selection. So, what are your 2 cents on that? Either of you can take this one.
Well, I believe he has been getting the backing from the team management more or less. If you look at the bowlers, pacers who have played the more number of ODIs, he has been among those. It's just that there has always been a year ago when Deepak Char was not facing so many injury issues. He was battling for the same place with Shardul once we were starting to move on from Bhuvi. So Deepak and Shardul, they both got those opportunities, but with Deepak facing all these injury concerns, I think that's where he got out of the race, and then Shardul just made this number 8 his position even more. So he has been getting those opportunities and he has been doing pretty well. It's just that maybe it's the kind of player he is. Like, he'll just do his bit, he'll go for the wickets, and by doing that he might concede some more runs. And if that is something which fits for the balance of the team, and that is something that as a package for the entire setup goes well, then I believe he should be there. But as well as the confidence in selection, I think he has been given that, and his returns have been there. But the only thing is, he doesn't come across as lethal as somebody like a Bumrah or a Siraj or a Shami does. So, which is why you always tend to, underrate his bowling level always. That okay, if you have three places to pick, Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, let's pick those. And even Prasidh, like, on days you might even want to pick Prasidh above him, though he's not in the squad right now. So that's what I feel, that he has had the confidence. It's just that it's just the way he comes across as a bowler.
If I could just add in, I also think I think as Chinmay said and Naman also mentioned, Shardul the batter is also very important, because he has the ability to go boom boom and get those 20, 30, 40 runs at rapid pace. My only concern with Shardul was actually to do with his recent performances, let's say against the Aussies or this thing. But again, yeah, as Rishabh had the best point, I think it will probably be a place where things are rotated and things are moved around. But Shardul's knack of the Lord's knack for picking wickets is something I do not contest with. But yeah, let's see. Yep.
Yeah, I sort of agree with what Chinmay is saying, because, like you guys said, his knack of just taking wickets when you absolutely need it, and as well as scoring quick runs again when you need it. I guess what we do want is a bit of consistency in that regard, and and some improvement in technique, I guess. But hey, listen, if on the day there is a very good partnership in the opposing team and you need someone to break it, chances are Shardul might get you a wicket there, and even if he goes for runs or he may not take that many wickets, that at that particular moment it can turn the game. So yeah, I see where Chennai comes from.
Right. And now, we've discussed so much about India. We have so many things that's working well for us. And here's hoping, we're able to figure out that right playing 11 in each of the conditions that will definitely bring up something new as well. And just moving forward in our discussion, let's look at England, right? Now, this is one team that any adjectives would be difficult to, describe how remarkable their journey has been. Now, you look at the 2015 World Cup and the kind of revolution that they've had in their playing style and everything, to see where they reached in the 2019 World Cup is nothing short of remarkable. And I'm sure you all will agree with me as well. So, Bharat, opening this question on England, what are your overall thoughts on the squad and any big misses that is really, standing out for you?
think I was just discuss. Sorry, I think I was just discussing with a friend a couple of days ago that England had England are still one of the favorites for me, at least. The way they play ODI cricket still uh, is they changed the way the game is played to an extent with the way they've played in the last 6-7 years. Ben Stokes' return and that century that he smashed, major confidence booster for him and for the team, because he's not going to bowl. From what I've heard, he's not going to bowl at all. So that's one of the things. England, again, one of the major things about England is they bat till you. I think they bat even after they're bowled out, for that matter. So they bat very, very deep on some of the flat tracks. They are major contenders to break World Cup total records and all of that. Uh, for me, I don't see. I'm not sure about the misses as such, but I'll be concerned about, let's say, Joe Root's form. He has not played a lot of ODI cricket in the last 4 years with the Test calendar that England have. Joe Root's form would be a bit of a conundrum for them. Obviously, he's their mainstay, so him doing well is a major thing. Ben Stokes as well. How consistent can Ben Stokes be with the bat? Liam Livingston, again, major game changer for them. Uh, I'm not sure where how effectively Harry Brook will fit in, because Jason Roy would be the miss. But again, considering his form and his injury concerns, not such a big surprise that he was dropped. Harry Brook being the future and the potential that he has, but where does Harry Brook slot in? And Jofra Archer. Now they're carrying him as a reserve, if I'm not wrong. So does Jofra Archer come into the tournament? Because if he does, but the problem is, again, as I saw with when he played for Mumbai Indians in the IPL, how much of Jofra is he still? How much? How consistent? What is the pace like? So those will be the questions, even if he does play the tournament at some point. So these are some questions. England's batting. I mean, they can outbat a team on a given day. So that will, I think, still be their modus operandi going forward. The bowling is also good with a good combination. Livingston again adds that balance. He can bowl 4-5 overs. He can bat. He's an excellent fielder. So I do see England making the top four again, but it's not as easy as 2019 wasn't easy for them, considering how they got into the finals. But it won't be as simple for them, especially on the turning tracks. I really want to see how the Bairstows or the Brooks play on the spinning tracks in that sense. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's actually a great point, because England is obviously coming in with this pressure of, being World Cup winners. In the last edition, we saw what happened. Let's not get into that. But, Naman, what do you think about the opportunities and threats that could possibly befall England?
Well, first of all, just adding one part from what Bharat mentioned, like David Milan, the way he has played the 20 ODIs that he has played, he averages 60 at a strike rate of 96, and he has snatched Jason Roy's place away from him, because his returns had been diminishing for a while now, and the way he has slotted in and gives you a left-hander at the top again. So the left-right combination, every team would want that. So I think he's going to be a major asset, but depends on how he does in these conditions. He hasn't played a lot in India. I don't recall him playing a lot of IPL games, or maybe a couple for Punjab. And other than that, we haven't seen a lot of him in India. So it's going to be tricky how he fares here. Joe Root again, it's like he has to do well for England to go. There's no two doubts. There's no doubt about that. As far as Harry Brook is concerned, I see him more as a reserve for any of the top six players, because their top seven is largely settled. I believe the only changes would be there in the bottom four. Like you've got Bairstow and Milan at the top, then Root, Stokes. They've got Butler, Livingston, Moeen Ali. I don't think any of the seven are going to go out from there. It's just that with the bowling attack, you've got Rashid, who's definitely going to pitch in. You would want Mark Wood, but how many games does he have in him across the tournament? Can he give you 9 games, or will he be rotated throughout? So in terms of the overall threats, again, I feel that on turning tracks, how well can their batting fare? Because on England, we've seen how the decks are really true. The ball comes on the bat, you just play through the line. Although there's some swing, but once the ball gets older, it's easier to hit. So how do they tackle the spin challenge here is going to be something to watch out for. And in terms of the opportunities, again, it's the mindset that they have. The mindset that this English team has, I don't think any other team in this World Cup has that mindset. They don't care. They don't care if they get bowled out for 80 odd. They will just go hell and leather for it. And that's what we saw in the recent ODI series against New Zealand as well. I think they were languished. They lost 6 early wickets within 100, and then the way Sam Curran and Livingston took it from there, it just took the ball game. And which is where even Josh Butler would be a major player for them, because he has put the IPL on fire the previous season, and even this season he had middling returns. But he has that experience of playing in India even more than Johnny Bairstow at this point, because his last couple of IPLs weren't that great. So he is going to be a major influence, and not just for his batting, for his keeping as well. Because on these turning tracks, keeping to these to the quality spinners like Adil Rashid, it's gonna be a tough ask. And I don't recall he has been keeping well to. I don't recall him keeping in IPL as well, because Samson was keeping for Rajasthan. So let's see how he fares against this challenge. And this is something that even India has to be very careful about. How does KL Rahul keep with the spinners? So that's what I believe. They need to do pretty well through with their batting, and their bowling has to come good, because all the pacers that they have Sam Curran, they have Chris Wokes, they have Reece Topley. All of them are largely effective ones when there is some swing on offer. So let's see how do they go on those pitches in India, wherein swing would not be readily available, and which is where Mark Wood is extremely important as the enforcer in the middle. Okay.
Absolutely. And just taking this question that Chinmay asked us, now we have Harry Brook, right? He is a class player. We've seen him in the IPL having he was blowing hot and cold with Sunrisers. Now, if he's going to play in that top five, he would obviously need some time to like settle in on these Indian pitches. So I think Chinmay brings this point of, if he doesn't fire, there will always be others. So Rishabh, how do you look at this playing out?
Uh, I mean, I think Harry Brook's inclusion when the squad was announced kind of sort of took me by surprise, because he was not necessarily in the best form, and his inclusion, I feel as though, is in part due to his performances in India in the IPL, and what he did in the 100. And again, he is someone who can deliver with bat and ball. But yeah, like Chinmay said, if he is going to play, it's got it's going to be a question of how much time is he given to settle, if at all his performances in the first few games aren't up to speed. Because in such tournaments you don't get a whole lot of time to sort of to settle. You kind of have to be firing from the get go. So it's a tricky one. But I think if Harry Brook can bring that bit of experience and his success in the limited over in the T20 game, and bring it in India, I think he can be a pretty vital asset for the team, which is why he has been selected. So it is something to look out for sure.
And quickly to take this, oh yeah, go on, Bharat.
Yeah, I think I agree with Naman here that England's top seven is settled. Harry Brook is more of a backup, and Chinmay is absolutely right. Seeing what we saw of him in the IPL, he needs some time on the Indian pitches, especially when spin gets onto him. So he will be a backup, but who does he replace if they don't fire? Because that's the only question. Because I think out of Bairstow, Root, and Stokes are undroppable. Regardless of their form across the tournament. Harry Brook at opening, if Malan doesn't fire, some of these questions will come up if England don't start well. But one more shout out is because Naman mentioned the spinners, this thing. What about Joe Root, the bowler? Is the question when the pitches start turning. So I'm looking forward to that as well if that comes up.
Exactly. We can't
That's
forget the fifer he took against India at Ahmedabad.
Yep,
He is
yep,
that
like
that
the
was some game. Yeah.
yep,
Joe Root, Liam Livingston, Moeen Ali, and Adil Rashid. Like potentially they are playing four spinners in their first 11.
yep.
And like Bharat mentioned, I don't see them panicking and changing their top seven anytime soon. Because the nature of their game is to back their players to go hell for leather, and I don't see Harry Brook getting considered in the first 5 or 6 games unless there is an injury concern and somebody is woefully out of form.
I would put a note on Ben Stokes' knee, his the condition of his
Yeah.
knee injury. So that would probably be the only shoe in for Harry Brook in that sense.
Makes sense.
Another point I want to make about Joe Root. I think England rested Joe Root ahead of this World Cup. He didn't play against Ireland, I believe. So they do see him as an asset, more so because someone raised the point about England playing spin in India. Joe Root plays spin quite well, and and so when it comes to tackling spin, you could almost equate Joe Root to Shreyas Iyer in that way. He will be vital to tackle spins and to sort of navigate the middle overs, and as we've seen before, Root is quite brilliant at this. So yeah, like someone mentioned, he is going to be vitally important if England are going to defend their championship this year.
And it's
Absolutely.
not just a second, yeah. It's not the classic Joe Root that we remember like 2 or 3 years ago, pre-baseball era. It's the Joe
Mhm.
Root whose classic shot is the lap now. So he
Yep.
has
Yeah,
those innovative shots in him as well, and we are yet to see that come to life in the wide ball format. So really excited to see how he goes, and more like a Williamson as well. You know, he has not had any cricket behind him, but you back the quality of the guy to perform in these conditions.
Yep.
yes.
No doubt about his importance.
Yep.
And now, England obviously brings this very attacking cricket to the front, right? So, what is the one match that you all are looking forward to seeing? This question is open to all of you.
If I can go, it would be England versus India. I see this as a battle between cricketing ideologies for that matter. I know India have changed the way they play, but India are still stuck somewhere between trying to play like England and trying to play like how they played 10, 15 years ago. Conserve wickets at the top, then go as hard as you can at the back end. So it'll be fun to see how our bowling copes up with England's because England go very hard in the middle overs as well, and India have a great record in the middle overs. So how does that work out? So that would be a good match to watch out for me. So yeah,
I would go for England versus Australia, primarily because these are two teams that have very obvious strengths and very obvious deficiencies when it comes to in the Indian setup. Um, I think, and again, notwithstanding the historical rivalry between the two, these Australia themselves are very good, and we will come to them. I'm pretty sure, but they are themselves are very good favorites for this tournament as well. Aside from this India and England, so yeah, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to England versus Australia.
Well, certainly these two are going to be box office breakers. But given the nature of the teams playing and the services that they're going to play in India, England versus South Africa also becomes a key battle for them because South Africa, of late, their 4, 5, 6 have begun to play the way England plays their brand. Like you have the top stability in the top three. De Kock will aggress, and then Bavuma and VDD are going to stabilize. But Markram, Klaas, and Miller, they are just going to go hell for leather. And that's where I think a similarity comes in. And the track at Mumbai, we know how like it's a batting friendly track. So that is where we can expect to see a 400 plus game, and it becomes a battle between the two aggressive middle orders for me. So again, like Australia England is definitely a match that I'm going to look forward to because I will be there. So that's all the more exciting naturally for me. But this one contest is probably going to define how we can get a sense of their entire campaign for both the two teams in this particular game.
That's actually true, and we have so much to look forward to because England, they are the team that has really changed so many trends and everything in world cricket quite recently. And let's, focus on Afghanistan now. When I think of Afghanistan, the first thing that comes to my mind is Rashid Khan and his statement of "I won't marry till like Afghanistan wins the World Cup." So, guys, do you think this is the moment? Is Afghanistan going to win the World Cup, and Rashid Khan finally do the get married?
Just for that, yes.
Fair. But on a serious note, too, Rishabh, let's start with you on this one. What are your overall thoughts on the squad chosen by Afghanistan? We see quite a few interesting selections as well, and the squad shaping up well.
Yes, I do think. I think their team is such that can perform quite well in the Indian conditions. They have players that are pretty well suited here. Notwithstanding that there are some folks who've already played it, likes of Rashid, Fazal Haq Faruqi, Mujibur Rahman, and so on. They are pretty well accustomed to Indian conditions. They've done well in these conditions when they play for their respective franchises in the IPL. Um, so, and yes, right, like I mentioned, their bowling attack I think is very exciting. I think it can cause problems for any batting lineup in this tournament. I was I was I was quite encouraged to see Naveen ul Haq returning. It's been a while since he played his last ODI, even though he has been so, and he is someone that carries serious pace. So here, I think Naveen ul Haq, his inclusion is quite encouraging, and I think like we you tend to use the word dark horses, people whom we don't expect might go that might make that much of a difference in a tournament, but they end up doing so. I I remember in 2019 they did they did make quite some inroads, and I think given the conditions and given their bowling attack, I think this is a team that we need to watch out for. They could make it to the knockout stages for all we know.
Absolutely. You
Agreeing
could never
totally.
write them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Nya. Agreeing totally with Rishabh. The only major concern for me is their middle order. Like they have two openers with Zadran and Gurbaz who have the potential to give them good starts, but will their middle order be able to give them the stability that they need? They have the likes of Nabi and Rashid to take it at the end and probably give a good death over finish to them. But how about the middle order? If their middle order can at least hang around and score at five and over for those 20 overs in between, the openers give them a good start. Nabi and Rashid can finish at the death. Then the team starts looking completely different altogether. Because, like you mentioned, they have Naveen Ulaq, they have Fazal Faruqi, who can give them a great power play in bowling, and they've they're four quality spinners. I think Noor Ahmed is there in the squad, right? Do
Yes,
you have
he
Noor?
is. Yes.
Yep. He's
Yeah.
Potentially, they can play all four of those on surfaces like Delhi, Chennai, and I don't know how the Lucknow service is going to be. So the middle overs are solid. You do not have to think about those at all. Somebody like a Mujib can also bowl in the power play. So largely their entire campaign literally rests on the back of the middle order. If they have something in them to hang around and give them a few runs there, I believe they have the potential to cause some upsets in the tournament. And especially like against sides like we saw what they did to Sri Lanka recently in the Asia Cup. That
Yes.
game really went the distance. And last year, we remember what happened with Australia and the T20 World Cup. If they have the quality in them, it is just about how they click as a unit. Like we always say, right? That the sum should all the whole should be greater than the sum of the parts. And they have some great parts. It's just that how they stick, how they come together as a unit. Oh,
and
Chinmay says, Ahmed is a player to watch out for.
Yep. Not to forget, they just went and I think beat Bangladesh in Bangladesh, which is a testament to their spin, especially their bowling attack. Uh, the question with Afghanistan, I think, with the middle order will also be how they're able to accelerate, uh, because both their openers, while they do lay a foundation, Afghanistan tend to go at 5.5 and over. How while it might be good enough for, let's say, when they're playing in Chennai or Delhi, how will it fare when they play on better batting tracks? Do they have it in them to get those 300, 350s that is necessary to give their bowling attack that cushion? Will be, I think, a question that they'll need to answer. But yeah, there's no doubt about the pedigree of the bowling attack in these conditions. Uh, they'll be a handful for any team, regardless of their batting, because I do think they have it in them to defend the 220s, 230s, or 240s if the pitch is conducive. So, yeah, that will be a question.
Right, and to again open this question to Naman, what do you think about the team balance? Like, how do you think they're going to figure out their best playing 11, and what could be how would that play out?
Well, so for the team balance again, I feel Rashid is perfectly capable to bat up top as well. But probably the reason why he's there because there's nobody at the dead to provide that finishing touch. So that's where I feel he will gonna stay there itself. And then Nabi also becomes very crucial in the middle overs. He has to be that glue for the entire order because you've got Gurbaz who's gonna go bang bang bang. Then you've got Zadran at the top who is some sort of a stabilizer, but how long can he hang around? And for their 11, like honestly, if I look at this, the players that I have really followed as much, I would pick the four spinners. I would pick the two pacers, and like the four spinners give you that batting at 6 and 7 as well. So you've got Nabi Rashid at 6 and 7. Mujib can slot in at 8. Then you've got the two pacers followed by Noor, and then you can pick your opener sorted, and then the 3, 4, 5 you have people like Azmatullah Omrazai and Hashmatullah Shahidi all obviously fits in there, and you've got Najibullah Zadran. So the 11 somewhat fits in that template, and that's where they would be playing at their strength, which is their spin and how well they can fare in again swinging conditions because there won't be a lot of places where the ball is going to swing, but they can expect some sort of movement off the pitch on some grounds. So how do they tackle those moving deliveries is something that's going to be a tough ask for the top order especially. And if they lose their top order early, I really don't see them making it ahead in the game. It just reflects in the manner in which the middle order just goes into a shell and tries to play for survival. And which is where if the bowling, if a bowler is coming at you with the intention of picking your wicket and you're just playing for survival, well, you may never know which ball has your name on it. So they have to be a bit counter-attacking in that sense, and which is where even Rashid, I feel in certain games can come in early just to change the momentum of the game and just to counter attack there. Even Nabi or Rashid, probably in a few games they can come in earlier just to set the tone, and then others can follow suit. So it's tricky for them. They are an exciting side, no doubt about that. But they just have to come together and put on some consistent shows. They have it in them to do well against Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Netherlands, of course. But if they can spin the heads of the non-Asian teams who are not that great at spin, they might just surprise everybody at this World Cup because these are the conditions in which they can go the distance. And yeah, and the tracks, how what kind of tracks are we preparing for this World Cup? Because I don't think there would be tracks which are going to be ranked earners. So it has to be a balanced one. How do they adapt from surface to surface to surface? That's going to define their entire campaign.
Fair enough. And on that note, let's take Chinmay's question here as well. Like if Afghanistan get to a competitive 250 or 270, and as you all have also mentioned, you've spoken highly of their bowling as well. But I think getting those runs consistently might be a concern, right, with their batting. So, Bharat, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, apart from the spinners as well, their paces are also pretty good. Or just to begin with the bowling attack, both Fazal Faruqi and Navinul have shown that they have the potential to both take wickets, and with Fazal Faruqi at the depth, they have the capacity to contain. But I think Chinmay points out very well that will they get to the 250, 270? Because like I mentioned before, your 220s or 200s, you can defend it in one game or two games, you can run them close. But if you want to achieve success on a tournament level, you will face teams like England, you'll face teams like South Africa, the new South Africa, if I have to say that way, who even if you pick for 3 4 quick wickets, they'll still get to 250, 300. Now, can you chase that question? Or if you bat first, can you put them under pressure? Again, uh, we are in an era where taking 4 quick wickets probably does not make as much of a difference as it used to if you lose your top four with teams playing the way they do. But yeah, he's absolutely right. Getting to 250, 270, again, that does not guarantee Afghanistan's success, but it gives their bowlers a fair chance with the talent they have. Because otherwise, you're just constantly putting them in situations where they have to perform, and they have to perform. They have to have their best games every single day for you to even come close to winning the match. So yeah, that'll be the question.
1 second is coming in. I was just looking at their schedule. They are playing India and England at Delhi, which are which are friendly conditions for them, and they are playing Pakistan at Chennai. So on these tracks, if they are able to like get those wickets and their batting can hang around, I think they do have, because their schedule does favor them to an extent. And they are playing Sri Lanka at Pune, which I feel would be largely should be largely balanced for them. Other than that, they're playing Australia at Mumbai, so that's one game where I believe Australia would like to take some sweet revenge of what happened last year, though Australia won. But yeah, and they're playing South Africa at Ahmedabad. We don't know which Ahmedabad surface it's going to be. Now, if it is a turner, mind you, like yeah, they just it just seems that they can do something well, but then again, the batting has to be always.
Now, with all these points taken into consideration, what are your predictions on where Afghanistan will end up? Again, the question is open to everyone in the room. Bharat, let's start with you.
I think I'll go with Rishabh's title of Dark Horses. It'll be a huge thing. They've only won one World Cup match till now. So it'll be a huge. I expect them to beat Netherlands this time. It'll be a huge thing for them if they win a couple more matches. That'll itself be a huge achievement because from where they've come. But as Naman said, with their schedules shaping up the way it is, we could be in for a really exciting campaign because imagine they take down a couple of the bigwigs. Then you never know. A knockouts entrance could be on the cards, but then I think for them it's also about not thinking too far ahead because that can quickly derail campaigns. So yeah, I'm hoping they'll win. They'll win more consistently this time, and probably the knockouts if all the cards fall on their side in that sense.
Naman, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the schedule is looking at the exciting spin attack and the way the openers can do well. You would like to think that okay, they have some chance to make it to the top four, but that is largely like not something that you would like to hedge your bets on. Wouldn't be totally surprised if they do make it there, but I'd see them somewhere in the lower middle of the table. I believe they can still finish better than maybe like Netherlands for sure, but maybe better than even a Bangladesh or a Sri Lanka if those two sides do not turn up. So I see them somewhere around like seven ish. I see them finishing around that place. But then if on the day they do turn up as a unit, uh, if they make it to the semis, I would be slightly surprised, but not to the extent that you wouldn't expect them to do that at all. So for them, if they would be largely disappointed if they don't win more than 2 or 3 games, because I feel they should expect to do that much at least given the exposure their players have had over the past few years. And then, like Bharat said, one game at a time, and let's see how the campaign takes them.
Exactly. And Rishabh, what are your predictions?
Uh, yeah, I mean, like what Bharat and Naman said, and thanks Naman for pointing out the scheduling because again, wasn't didn't know that well. That scheduling actually kind of favors them just a little bit in terms of the grounds in which they play. and it's going to be tough for them when it comes to knockout stages, given the level of competition. But I think this is an Afghanistan team that has had more exposure, that has actually grown to quite a degree, and given how exciting their bowling attack is, and especially that spin attack, I think if they do take it one game at a time, they can cause a major upset, and I think they can definitely get more than just one win, unlike like the last edition of the World Cup. And I think if they can definitely make a mark in this World Cup, even if they don't qualify for the knockout stages. Maybe if they can do well here, fifth or sixth or seventh, it might help them further on, as if and actually bring a greater talent pool into Afghanistan. But for this World Cup, yeah, I am expecting something around sixth and seventh, and hoping that they beat one of the big teams.
Yeah, an upset would definitely be interesting to see. Go on, Bharat.
Yeah, just Shuan, the Afghanistan versus Pakistan clash will be fun because I think even in the recently concluded ODI series, they came pretty close. All I think two of the three games, but yeah, that will be fun to watch in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, seeing them
Afghanistan,
go across. Go on, Naman.
yeah, go on. So Afghanistan Pakistan has always been a great clash. Even last year, I think it was in the Asia Cup where Naseem Shah hit sixes towards the end, and ever since then, like there have been some
Yeah.
fiascos in the stadiums as well, wherein the fans have been
Oh
going at
right,
each.
yeah.
It is probably one of those emerging Asian rivalries that we are seeing in the recent past. It's going to be a great one. And for me, the match that I would look forward to for Afghanistan would be against England. Because we remember what Morgan did to Rashid in the last World Cup. So
Yes.
he would
Oh
surely
yeah.
remember that. That's one unit that can, like, if Joe Root doesn't do well, they can be slightly susceptible to spin because Livingston again is he can hit spin well, but he is more effective against the Pacers, and they can just with their skill in spin, if they can just beat them. I'm looking forward to that clash because the batters are surely not going to play the spin out; they're going to hit them. That's where the excitement comes in for that particular clash. And then Mark Wood can probably run through their entire batting order. So yeah, just those hypothetical things that cricket fans think of every day. Let's see how this actually play out on the ground.
Exactly. And in the recent past, also, Afghanistan has been playing this very exciting brand of cricket. So let's see how they fare in this World Cup. Let's move on to Australia, right? Again, Australia, your big weights, having won like what, 5 World Cups in the past. And they obviously come in with like so much of baggage and a great team that has been assembled together as well. So let's kickstart this discussion with Rishabh. So, what are your overall thoughts on the squad composition and how their lead up has been to this World Cup?
They're one of the favorites. Simply put, I mean, this is a team that I mean, in terms of their batting is top notch, and their fast bowling department is one of the best in the world. So so if both of them are in good nick in any given day, and they can tear apart any opposition. And I think and yeah, while their batting and their fast bowling department looks great, it's the spin department that's a bit susceptible. I mean, who's their second choice spinner? Glenn Maxwell. So which is slightly concerning. It's obviously a shame that Ashton Agar didn't make the cut due to injury, because Adam Zampa and Ashton Agar would have been a pretty good combination in India, I feel. But so I think that's where they are a little bit short. But I mean, you have given the you have the likes of you know Marnus Labuschagne, who made it in the last moment. And uh, in the recent game against India, you had Steve Smith, who looked in good touch. As I mentioned today, Mitchell Stark took a hat trick with, with at such ease, almost it looked like. So I feel as though, I mean, Australia, you kind of expect them to make the semis along with India and England, just by the sheer talent that the team possesses in certain departments.
Fair enough. And coming in this series as well, now Australia played against India in that ODI series. So now they are acclimatized to these conditions, and we have a lot of players who played in the IPL as well. So Bharat, how do you think Australia have learned their lessons and had some major takeaways from that series heading into this World Cup?
Major takeaways. They played on largely good batting conditions. They played on very conducive tracks. So, also, I'd like to see how they play on tracks that are not 300, 350 tracks. What will affect them is Travis Head's injury. When does he come back? How bad is his injury? That would be one question. Uh, One more point of concern for me is Pat Cummins's limited overs bowling form. Uh, how well does he uh, take to the Indian conditions? How well does he bowl? Those are some questions. I mean, they have one of, for me personally, it's a personal bias, but one of the all-time great World Cup bowlers in Mitchell Starc, because he just seems to come up and take those 25 wickets. I mean, it's at this point he's done it twice in a row. So Mitchell Starc is always there, and the game against Netherlands, rain marred but still great. Uh, David Warner, just thinking about the acclimatization, David Warner has played a lot in India, like limited overs in India. David Warner's the man with his record in the IPL and how he plays. So he's shown flashes of good form in the last in the series against India as well. Can he turn those into those hundreds that we know from that he has in him? Will be the question. Mitchell Marsh. Now Mitchell Marsh has always been an enigma for Australian cricket, but he's an all or nothing player. From what I've seen, even in the last two series, where either gets out for a duck or he smashes bowlers around the park for those 80s, 90s. Yet to get 100 in the recent times, but yeah, that would be this thing. I think Rishabh rightly pointed out spin. Zampa is good. Zampa is really good in limited overs cricket. Uh, Maxwell as the second spinner, I don't have a problem as such because of what he showed, but can he do that every day? Because Maxwell is on a good day he'll get on a great day he'll get to those 4 wickets that he did against us. On a good day he's a hold up bowler. He'll hold one end up while the other end your strike bowlers come in and do their job. So there are some questions. Labuschagne coming in is again something expected because of the way he played in the South Africa series and what he did there. So the team is there. There are all the ingredients of, let's say, a World Cup winning team in that. Really excited to see how Steve Smith plays, because an excellent player of spin, excellent player of all kinds of bowling. But we haven't. I think 2015 he played quite well in the World Cup, but even after that we haven't seen the best of Steve Smith for various reasons in limited overs cricket. Test Steve Smith is God, but where does he land up here? So there are quite a few questions. Alex Carey as well. How does he do keeping on these tracks? How does he do batting on these tracks? So there is, as I said, there's an ingredient for the reverse sweeps. Or the sweeps. So there are ingredients of a great team here, but I think Naman put it up absolutely well. The parts are there, but what does it add up to will be the question for Australia to answer.
Absolutely. And Naman, this question's for you. Now, Australia obviously comes in with a very strong squad. So, who are some of the players you're going to definitely watch out for and are actually looking forward to seeing?
I feel Maxwell is very important to them because he has the most experience of playing on these tracks in the recent times, I guess, along with Stoinis. So these people in the middle order, I believe, are going to be largely important. Steve Smith is definitely there. Like you don't need to talk much more about Steve Smith. He's there to do the job. We can't analyze him first of all. That's not something that mere mortals like us can do. So I believe in the middle order, the likes of Maxwell and Stoinis are going to be largely crucial to tackle the spin first of all, and then to give them the finishing flurry as well. Because if the batting doesn't score really highly in the middle, they need that finishing flurry at the depth. Warner, of course, I feel that like this is for this World Cup. I believe Warner is just here to like live his cricket once again. Like he has already admitted that towards the end of the next Pakistan Test series, he might be calling it a day. So this is like, and he believes India to be his next home. like his second home because of all the love that he's gotten from Hyderabad. So he's just gonna play and enjoy his cricket like a philosopher that even Virat Kohli has now become. And largely their spin attack, like we mentioned, that Sampa, he has been a quality bowler. He has the knack of picking up all the big fishes in any order. But recently, I don't know how he's doing on his confidence, because being smashed for 100 runs in an ODI is a tough role. So how is he doing mentally in that regard? How well can he come back in this series? Because they're starting in Chennai and that pitch is going to assist him. So if he can get one or two big fish like Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma in that game, that's largely going to boost his confidence and probably define how he goes ahead in this World Cup. Having said that, overall, I feel they are doing a bit short on their reserves. Like if somebody gets injured for batters, they have only Josh Inglis, or I don't see Cameron Green fitting in the first 11. They have Josh Inglis and Cameron Green. Like Inglis doesn't have a lot of experience in India, and the little that we have seen of him, it doesn't really look that comfortable here. And with Green as well, like it's somewhat similar to what we discussed about Brook. We don't know what we are gonna get out of him on a given day. So if any of their batters is unavailable due to injury, because Travis Head is in the squad, but he's not available for the first 5 or 6 games, if I'm right. So in terms of the reserves, they are a bit short. I feel as long as Agar would have been in the squad, they would have had the option of going with just two frontline seamers and one like Agar. But now I think they have to go with Cummins, Stark, and Hazelwood, the pace trio, and then fit in their entire unit. You get Head and Marsh at the top, Smith, Marnie, and the middle order. I think it would be more flexible based on the situation, who comes in when. You got Carey, Maxwell, Stoin, then come in Stark, Hazelwood, Zampa. So the 11 is good on paper. Undoubtedly, this is probably the best 11 that they could have put out on paper given the availability concerns. But they have it in them. They definitely do. Australia always does. And although they haven't had the kind of build up to the World Cup with South Africa and India series, they it's Australian World Cups. You never count them out. You just never do. They have it in them to just prove it at the big stage, and they are a team who knows how to win in any situation. So largely rests on the the openers as well. If they give them good starts, like Marsh did in the previous ODI series here, during after the Test series, the way he went bang 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 and just decimated the Indian bowling attack. I feel that's the kind of role that he needs to play there in the power play. Just aggress and make sure that you get 80, 90 run first 10 overs. After that, you've got Steve Smith coming in, doing what they do, Labuschagne. And I'm looking forward to their partnerships. How do Steve Smith and Manas Labuschagne, okay, I'm going to say Labuschagne for the sake of it because everybody calls him that. How do they tackle the spin in the middle overs and their partnerships? Like Mani just leaving the ball and no run. Looking forward to all that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think those Australia's middle overs are probably going to be the most entertaining middle overs if those two are batting.
That's actually so true. And, as you rightly pointed out, the duo of Steve Smith and Labuschagne are definitely ones to watch out for in Indian conditions. And now, again, this question I'll open to everyone in the room. What are some of the matches you're absolutely looking forward to from the Aussie POV? Yeah, go on, Bharat.
I have a question for the panel before that. Because of the squad they have, how much do you think Stoinis is going to bowl? Will he bowl? Will he be required to bowl a lot, a bit? Because Green isn't playing, and if I'm not wrong, they have 4 frontline bowlers with Zampa and the 3 pacers. So,
Yeah.
how much will the bowling duties be split between Maxwell and Stoinis, and let's say Head also if he bowls at some point in the tournament?
I can start on that. So I feel in the South Africa series, Stoinis was opening the attack. He was
Yeah.
bowling up top and he was doing pretty well. He was economical. He was picking up wickets as well there. So he has had that bowling behind him, and he is largely underutilized as a bowler. Even when he was playing for the Delhi Capitals, even as recently as Lucknow. I don't know what Lucknow did with him last year. Let's not get there. But he is largely underutilized as a bowler. He has it in them, and based on the surface, it's gonna be dictated. If there's turn, obviously Maxwell gets a bit more, and if Maxwell is not doing well, if Maxwell is being taken to the cleaners, then I believe Stoinis has to come in and with those cutters that he can bowl, hold up as well. but largely pace duties will be distributed between the three pacers. But those three will also not probably play all the 9 games.
Yeah.
They will also be rested and rotated here and there, and that's where his role will come into play. But more largely for me, he is there as somebody who can strike at a 120 and just accelerate through the middle and towards
Yep.
the death. And we've seen how well he can do that. Like last year as well at Chinnaswamy, the way he and Puran. Okay, let's not talk about that.
Don't remind, please. And Marsh isn't bowling, right? If I'm not wrong, or is will
He is
Marsh bowl?
bowling, like he can bowl, but I think he is largely under bowling right now, focusing more on his batting to manage the workload. And he's not largely required to bowl even in this setup because you've got the three pacers and you've got Stoinis at the fourth run. Wherever needed, I think he's gonna come into bowl. Largely, it's let him
Got it.
do his job with the bat.
Yeah, just adding on to what Naman said, it's not going to be a case of Marcus Troyan is bowling all 10 overs. It will be largely rotational, given that the three pacers, and because the likes of Cummins and Stark, they always carry an element of injury concern with them. So you will see a lot of Marcus. I feel like we will see quite a bit of Marcus Stoinis bowling, and he has done well in Indian conditions, batting wise and bowling wise. So in that regard, he becomes quite a key component for that Australian team. And I think going back to Neha's earlier question of which game I'm looking for, I think it would be Australia versus Pakistan, just for that just to see that bowling attack between these two. I think these two have some of the best bowling attacks in the tournament, and I believe, and I think just to see that. And where is that game happening? Let me check. It's in Chindaswamy. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun just to watch these people bowl. That's all.
And Bharat and Naman, you guys can also take this one on matches you're looking forward to.
I'd say just because of the yeah
Yeah, go on.
recent history between the teams, Australia versus South Africa, because South Africa's come from the behind series win was super cool to watch, and Klaasen versus the Aussie pace attack was something to behold. So I would say Australia versus South Africa for me right now. Yeah,
That game's in Lucknow. Let's see what kind of flag do we have there.
yeah,
Because
Oh
if
wow.
it's a corner, then probably like the Fury pace attack would have a role to do,
just
but the spin of Shamsi and Zampa might have a larger role there.
yeah.
And overall, I'm just looking at the schedule. Australia England definitely. I'm looking forward to that game for all the obvious reasons. Other than that, 1 second. Yeah, I think that's the one. I'm looking forward to that more than any others. Yeah, they're playing India and Chennai, so that's the opener for both for us. Naturally, that is one game you look forward to.
Right. And now, before we move on to Bangladesh, a quick shout out to all our viewers here and Sanchit as well, who gives his full support to us. And the viewers can also send in their questions via comments. We'll be more than happy to address them. And on that note, let's move on to our last team under focus in this part one. That's Bangladesh, right? Now, Bangladesh is again a very interesting team. You usually characterize them with their Nagin dance and those, major upsets that they pull off in World Cups, right? They have a knack of that. So again, coming into this World Cup with such a experienced squad and like youth also accompanying, there's obviously so much to look forward to. So let's open this discussion with Naman. So, what are your overall thoughts on Bangladesh's squad composition and how their lead up has been in this World Cup?
Uh, like with Bangladesh, you never know which Bangladesh is going to turn up. Like on days they are just they can just pull off shows the way they did when India went there last year. And even with the last couple of wickets remaining, somebody like a Mehdi Hassan can pull off a partnership and take the game away from India. And then there are days wherein they just lose from winning situations. Like they're probably a bit like the Punjab Kings. If that's the right analogy, you never know what to expect from them. They always have something on paper, but it's the performances that are always a lot of concern. Right now, I believe, like with everything that went with Tamim, I really don't know what's the real thing. Is he actually not fit? Is he fit and there is some internal issue going on? But anyway, keeping that aside, They have some quality at the top. I believe now that Tamim is out of the equation, Shakib has to bat at 3, with especially Mahmudullah coming back in the mix. So he takes up the position at number 6. And in the middle order, you've got Mushfiq, and I believe Tawhid Ridoy is going to take at number 4 or number 5, because he's the one that they've backed and he has shown some promise as well. So you've got Litton. Najmul has been consistent. I think he has really started to come of age now. Until last year in the T20 World Cup, I thought that he was going a bit slow, but this is probably his kind of format wherein he can Litton can take on the bowling and Shanto can just take his time, settle in, and then play the long innings. Then Shakib has to come in at 3, and we saw the World Cup he had last time in England. Shakib at 3 becomes a must for me in the current setup, because he has to dictate the middle overs, and he's a beast. The higher he bats, the longer he bats, he can just single-handedly take the game against the opposition. So their batting, I think, largely looks like this. You've got Shanto, they've got Litton, Shakib, then Toyd comes in the middle. Then you've got Mushfiq and Mahmudullah at 6. 7 and 8, you can have the two Mahedis, Mahedi Hassan, Miraz, and the other Mahedi Hassan. Both of them can slot in. And then the three quicks and Taskeen, Shoriful, and Fizz. So they have got three spinners there. They've got three pacers there. Their overall balance seems pretty good on paper. Then they also have the likes of Afif and Shamim as the backups. I think both of them are there in the squad. So they've got some decent reserves in place as well. And they also got Tanzid Hassan Tamim, the younger Tamim, who made it to the squad. He's there as a good backup for them. So they have what it's needed in these conditions. And if on turners, they are a force to reckon with. They can beat any team on a turning track. But how well can their batting fare against quality pace is really going to be a tough ask. And that's probably something that decides the campaign. And let's not we've spoken a bit about the spin, but even the pace bowling has been pretty good. They have quality paces. Taskeen, this is his third World Cup. He played the 15 as a very young bowler. Remember, he took some slurs from the captain Mashrafi back then, but he has really matured over the past few years and really become forced to reckon with as a pacer. He hasn't played a lot of games in the build-up, as far as I can remember, but he is a quality pacer. And Mustafizur, his cutters, his angling away from over the wicket, those deliveries will also come into play. So overall, they have a good balance, but I don't see them going all the way. They will somewhere out, because it's Bangladesh. You can never be extremely confident on them. They can pull off the upsets. They can defeat any team on the given day. But for them to go all the way till the semifinals, a lot of factors have to kick in well. And I feel, along with Shakib, a lot rests on Liton Das as well, because it is his time now. Like, he has been around for a while. He has shown the quality that he possesses. He has been consistent, but then he has also dropped off. If he can actually be the consistent opener and give them 40s, 50s on a consistent basis, and even hundreds on his day, then that really shifts the entire momentum, because the quality is there. The top six has had a good amount of experience and aggression in them. It's just about how they do against the team on a given day.
Agreed. And now, even let's put this in context, right? Like Chinmay's comment of how it's all or nothing for Bangladesh. Now, we've had so many players from their team who have played in the IPL who have that experience as well. So, Bharat, who are some of the players that you are ardently looking forward to, seeing in these conditions again in national colors?
Shakib, I think Naman is absolutely right that a large part of Bangladesh's fortunes will rest on Shakib. Uh, I want to see how Mahmudullah plays, because from what I remember, he doesn't have a lot of game time behind him. They didn't pick him for a good year or two because they thought they were done with him, and now he's back. Uh, the fizz is always a factor, especially on tracks like Chennai or Lucknow, where the ball grips or holds, right? I think, he has all the cutters in the world for him to uh, deceive the batsman. So these three, and major shout out to Tuskin, because Tuskin has shown great form in the last 2-3 years, and not very recently, but he's been pretty good before that. So would like to see Tuskin. My major concern for Bangladesh this year will be what is their mindset coming in, because they're being led by a captain who has told very clearly that he's been forced into this role. So that is Shakib's outlook, the entire scenario with Tamim, because that's not a great place for any team to start off with. And Mahmudullah as well, because I think the selectors were quite clear last year that, okay, Mahmudullah is probably done. But all these uncertainties is what Bangladesh is coming in with. I think largely it reflects on how they play their cricket as well. Like Chinmay said, it's all or nothing, because Bangladesh are a team that we have seen can lose from a position of needing 1 run from 3 balls, but also can have beat India in a 50-over World Cup game. I remember 2007, where the loss to them is what catalyzed major protests in the country, like burning effigies and all of that happened. So memories with Bangladesh are pretty volatile, but yeah, I don't see them making the knockouts, purely because they a lot of things need to go right for them. Like a lot of things that are not going right need to go right for them to make the knockouts. So that will be a question. Two, three of their top order batsmen are also quite young. The problem is not that they don't have talent, but they probably don't have the capability of going at 6 runs and over, 6.5 runs and over, which becomes a necessity in the way the lot of the bigger teams are playing, mainly catalyzed by England. But they need to reach those scores of 280, 300, 350 consistently for them, because I like the spin attack, but is the spin attack of the same caliber as, let's say, the Afghanistan? No. So they need a lot more cushion for the bowling than let's say some of the more stronger bowling attacks. On their day, obviously they can defend their scores. They have the capability of winning games. That's not a question. As Naman said, Shakib alone can probably win you a game with batting and bowling together. But what happens when Shakib is not performing? What happens when, let's say, a Mushfiqur is not performing? Because Mushfiqur has been a mainstay for them for like 10, 15 years now. I think this is his fourth World Cup. Huh? Yeah. He played in 2007 as well. 7, 11, 15, 19. Fifth World Cup. Yeah.
Fifth World
This is
Cup.
Mushfiq's fifth World Cup. Yeah. So what happens when he's not performing? So these are questions Bangladesh need to answer. Their batting quality against pace, proper pace, is something that also needs a bit of looking into. So these are some of the things that that I won't say pretty sure, but that I think will cause bumps in their campaign. If they make it to the knockouts, it will be a huge result for them. Like it will be I know it's a football analogy, but it will be like Mourinho taking a United team to second place in the league. It's about of that proportion, but I don't see that happening, is what I'd say. They're a middle of the table team. Yeah, but yes, that's how I see them this season.
Rishabh and Naman, do you also have something to add to this discourse?
About Yeah, I'm a little worried for Bangladesh, to be honest. The whole, I feel like there is a little bit of disarray on the whole Tamim and Shakib al Hasan sort of scenario. You have the cricket board saying that Tamim is out due to a back injury. Then you have then with the whole thing about Shakib al Hasan not really wanting to captain this team. That it's and mind you, Tamim Iqbal we thought retired, and then he had a conversation with the Bangladesh Prime Minister and then came back. So it's so hard to say with this team, and which is why they are so unpredictable, because you don't know. This is a team that on its day it has some very good players. Mehdi Hassan, we have seen, has done so well. I believe even in the Asia Cup they did quite well, I would say. And so this is a team that can on one fine day get it together and become world beaters. It is the same team, like how Naman was mentioning. It and I think even Bharat as well. It's a team that can lose. It can lose in a win-win scenario. Such as their thing. I think this is a team that needs to it needs to put its whatever issues it's having with the management in the back burner. It cannot influence their campaign, because these things tend to sort of play out in very weird ways. So if they can do that, And if the experienced folks such as Tamim, sorry, Shakib Al Hassan and Mushfiqur Rahim, even Mustafizur in some ways is an experienced member of the team now. If they can turn up, if the young ones can, if the young ones such as Nasr Mohammed and and Tanzit Hassan, if they can turn up and so and just it's a team that needs a lot of things going for them, because I fail to see them making a significant mark in this World Cup. They need a lot of good things going for them, if they have to make any significant mark in this tournament.
Rightly said, Rishabh. And I was again just looking through this squad. Like I was under the impression that Shamim and Afif were in the squad, but even they are not there. And that again makes me doubt their bench strength a bit, because like the top six and the first 11 is pretty decent. Toyd is a young guy, but he has it in him. He has shown some potential. But if any of these experienced blokes is out injured, we don't know who is actually going to come in and take it ahead, because the batting backups are really slim here. In bowling, they do have certain good quality, but yeah, it's you don't seem very bullish on them. You wouldn't hedge their bets on Bangladesh, and which is why I believe that even Afghanistan has a potential to probably finish ahead of them because of everything that's going around them and everything that you see in them. If they go on to like finish somewhere in the top six, or like at around 6 or 7, like I think that's going to be a good campaign for them from my eye. And they have to come together as a unit if they have to make any inroads in the tournament. It can't just be Shakib playing consistently through the tournament or Liton giving some starts on days. They have to click together and they have to put good partnerships, which whenever Bangladesh puts on partnerships, they are a different team altogether. Whenever they have just 40 30 40 30 run partnership and losing wickets consistently, they just lose the story and lose the plot right there. They have to stick around as a unit and put on those partnerships.
Absolutely. And now, Bangladesh, with all their unpredictability, it certainly makes them an exciting team to watch out for, because if we can't win, we'll at least cause upsets and leave the World Cup. So, that's the kind of mindset that really sets apart Bangladesh, and hope we get to see some matches like that. And, this does conclude our preview, our part one of these 5 teams. And we have had a great conversation so far. And yeah, that does draw curtains, guys. Thank you so much, and see you in part two.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Neha.
everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.